Back at the naturopath. Thanks for coming back. Got questions to go through? Questions. We've got plenty of them. Let's start with the first one. Is undereating good for gut health? So lots of people, I've had as patients over the years, they've got weight issues. And one of the key things that many people think they can do is eat less food, like undereat. Because, well, if you eat less food, you're probably going to lose more weight. But for many people, it just doesn't work like that. Undereating is not really a great idea. You've first got to sort of work out what your calorie, values are for the day. I mean, depends what kind of lifestyle you lead. There are many different body mass index and calorie value calculators online you can go and have a look at to sort of work out what sort of roughly your calorie values are for the day. What kind of nutrition you need to take in. Some people, for example, say 10% of your body weight, or roughly 10%, is a sort of a kind of an indication for how many calories you need per day. But of course, there are many other variables that you need to take into account, like your genetics, your muscle mass, your overall size, the type of person you are. If you get a large person from Hawaii, for example, and say a person from Kenya or Ethiopia, they'll have a different body shape. So, in genetics, so you can't say that everybody around the world is going to, do well on 10%, of their body weight in terms of calorie value. So what are we saying? So if you weigh 150 pounds, if you weigh 150 pounds, some people say 1,500 calories is sort of roughly a good intake. So if you exercise, you're going to burn anywhere between 300 to 500 calories. And CrossFit people can burn huge amounts of calories per day, so they have to take those things into account when they're actually eating food. But what happens when you undereat if you don't eat enough food? Are we talking eating disorder kind of territory here? But undereating is often attempted because of the person's body image. They think, as I mentioned, if they eat less food, they'll lose more weight and they'll get skinnier. Undereating is a concern for me when the person over-exercises or overtrains, or trains too much, like trains every day for, half an hour or 2 or 3 hours a day, whatever. But, that combined with eating less food is not really a smart idea. You're going to get a lot of problems with your body, which we'll talk about in a minute. So be very careful not to make the assumption that eating less food will make you lose more weight. Many people will not lose satisfactory amounts of weight, and they'll turn into grumpy people, in the interim. So when you start cutting food back, one of the key things that often happens is you start getting digestive issues like constipation. It's not uncommon for people who cut food back. They also get tired, they get grumpy, they get moody, they get shitty. You don't want to be around people who don't eat enough food. Blood sugar can take a real hit, and unfortunately what happens then is the liver has to keep breaking down more stored sugar in a process we call gluconeogenesis. So, and then you're going to get elevations of hormones like insulin and cortisol. And that can put a person on a roller coaster, an emotional roller coaster. So a very grumpy person, irritated person. We see that sometimes with I've seen this a lot in terms of patients with teenage girls leaving home, or teenage guys, moving into dorms or flats, or when they get into the university studies, often they'll go through a sort of transitory period there where they have issues with their blood sugar. If you keep undereating, also your hormones can crash, so you can get, unfortunately, not enough production of the core sex hormones like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and this can create high anxiety, this can create more pain in the body, this can create whole lots of symptoms which revolve around low core sex hormones. When estrogen, for example, and testosterone drop down, you get a lot of problems with cognition, logic. You can't really work things out properly. Testosterone, when that drops off, the drive seems to drop off in people. So there are many reasons why you don't really want to undereat. You've got to find really the right set point for how much food you can eat and how much food is too much to eat and how much is not enough. Right? And that's something you can work out over time. But work out your activity level and your body weight and sort of your body type, and have a look at an online calculator to work out sort of roughly what your calorie value is for you, and you should be doing okay then. As long as you're eating the right kind of foods that we often talk about on this channel, that you try and keep away from, a triple shot coffee with a Mars bar for lunch or something like that, or a big serve of Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Dr. Pepper's. Well, that's not really ideal kind of food. But I shouldn't have to talk a lot about that because I've talked for that for years on this channel anyway. The key thing is undereating leads to problems. Overeating leads to problems. You've got to find the set point, the right point for you. And it's possible to do that. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to click on the link if you want my free shopping report. Thank you.